Well, it's been a while since I've seen a forum post like this, but it is a welcomed change, alright? We finally get to see the Bed Wars update. Now, this isn't the entire update. They did say there's more to come, but today we get a taste of some new Bed Wars content. My name's Semi-Green, and I'm here today to tell you everything they added in this update, and also give my 2 cents about whether or not I think this was a good update. Now, overall, I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed, Hypixel. You've done a pretty good job. It did take you about 14 years, but I'm happy with what you've done. Now, there's a few different things that they've done, and it all is laid out here in the forum post, but today I'm going to make it in your ears, so you don't have to read. I'll do all the work for you, and I'm also going to break down a couple different things, give an explanation as to the effects and differences that this can make to the Bed Wars gameplay experience. Now, what we have is some new quests, some quality of life changes, a lot of bug fixes, 7 new maps, like 20 new prestige colors, 2 new practice modes, and also a little hint at what's to come next. Now, even just saying that, that sounds like a lot of stuff to unpack, and it kind of is, especially with these quests. I'm so excited about what they've done here with the quests. Now, for the longest time, there's only been 2 daily quests and 3 weekly quests. Now, at the start of Bed Wars, I believe there was only 1 weekly quest, which was break 25 beds in Bed Wars for 5,000 Bed Wars experience, which everyone loves, and that is still in the game. However, as time's gone by, they have definitely added some new quests, and this update is no exception. We have got the most quests in Bed Wars we have ever seen, and I'm very, very excited about this. Now, they did make a change to the first win of the day and 1 more game quests. Both of them now give 3,850 experience on the Hypixel network, 250 coins, and 250 Bed Wars experience. Now, I think previously the win gave you 250 experience in terms of Bed Wars, but the 3 games didn't give you any XP at all to go towards new stars. They also added 2 brand new daily quests. One of them is called Painsomnia, which I think is probably the best name for a quest I've ever seen. Insomnia is a sleep disorder that can make it hard to fall asleep. Basically, you struggle with sleeping, and a great play on words here with adding the PA at the start to make it Painsomnia, because the challenge is to break 3 beds. So that's one of the new daily quests, break 3 beds, and the other one is called Headhunter, and that is for getting 15 final kills in Bed Wars. Now, this means there are 4 daily quests for Bed Wars. That is 2 more than there ever has been, and they all give the exact same rewards, which is, as I said earlier, the 3850 Hypixel experience and the 250 coins and Bed Wars experience, which means if you complete all of these every day, you will get 15,400 Hypixel experience, 1,000 coins, and 1,000 Bed Wars experience just for doing your daily quests. When previously, you could get a quarter of that XP each day, because I think the main thing people actually care about when it comes to Bed Wars quests is the Bed Wars XP. Previously, you could only get 250 Bed Wars XP from daily quests. Now it's 1,000, which I think is huge and could definitely mean people are going to be able to grind a lot quicker. When it comes to weekly quests, they also added a new weekly quest called Finishing the Job, which is something I do a lot with your mum, and that is for getting 150 final kills each week. The Challenger quest was also changed. It used to be play 10 games with 1 challenge in Bed Wars activated, but now it is complete 5 games with a challenge activated, which means you can't just sit there with Collector on and play 10 games and get 2,500 free XP. You now actually have to complete 5 challenges, which I think is going to be very interesting to see what the new meta is for that. I assume people are probably going to either do the no diamonds challenge in 4s, or in doubles, maybe the no utilities. I know my friend and I did no utilities yesterday in doubles, and we got 5 wins pretty easily without that. The hardest part of that was having no gapples. Without TNT and fireballs, it's pretty easy still because you got tools. It'll be interesting to see what challenge people use to get that quest now that you actually have to complete the challenge. With this brand new weekly quest and the changes to the Challenger quest, as I said, you used to be able to play 10 games with the challenge active to get 2,500 experience. Now you have to complete 5 challenges for 5,000 experience, so double the reward, but you could argue it's probably more than double as difficult to get. This means that there is now 4 weekly quests, and my sister is calling me. That's convenient. Hello. Okay, as I was saying, there's now 4 weekly quests, and each of them all give 7,700 Hypixel experience, 5,000 coins, and 5,000 Bed Wars experience. That is a lot of experience. 5,000 experience per weekly quest, and there's 4 of them. So if you complete all of these quests, you get 30,800 Hypixel experience, 20,000 coins, and 20,000 Bed Wars experience. And if you happen to get all weeklies and every daily, each day of a week, you'll get a lot of rewards for that week. So say you grind every single day of the week, you get all the weeklies done, and every day you get all of the dailies, you'll actually end up getting 138,600 Hypixel experience, 27,000 coins, and 27,000 Bed Wars experience. And with every Bed Wars level being 5,000 experience, that means if you did nothing that week except for get all of these quests, you could literally get just over 5 stars. And even if you missed 2 days of daily quests, you should still get 5 stars worth of experience just from the quests, as well as whatever XP you get from the games you play to complete the quests. So grinding is pretty easy now. You're basically guaranteed to get at least a star a day if you really want to. Like that, it's pretty much as simple as that, which is pretty crazy because, you know, the star situation in Bed Wars, it's starting to get a lot easier to get stars, including one of the bug fixes that I'm going to talk about later. You'll be getting a lot more XP than you have been recently. Guys, quickly before we get into the rest of this video, I have just released some new cloaks. This is what they look like, and if you like them, please consider buying them. There's a Lighthouse Day and a Lighthouse Night, along with my old cloaks that look a little bit like this. I'd really appreciate if you guys went and supported me a little bit by buying these. If you like the look of them, that would be awesome. And also, don't forget to use code Semi on the Hypixel store, the best code to use on anything ever. The Hypixel store, chuck in code Semi to get 5% off, and yeah, then you're really cool. You become instantly awesome and more attractive if you use my, please use my code. I'm a little bit desperate. Anyway, back to the video. Moving on to quality of life changes, there's been a few of these, and these are actually quite good. I'm really happy with a lot of these quality of life changes. There's a screenshot on the screen right now. You can pause if you want to see all of them, but I'm just going to let you know the important ones, which is basically all of them. But let's begin, I guess. Now, they've changed it so that rotating items can now be saved in a quick buy slot, which is very convenient because that hasn't been the case, and you've had to go and click on that bloody beacon every time you want to get the rotating item, which might mean that people are going to use rotating items a lot more than they have been, which is always good. And they've also added the hotbar manager and the quick buy layout changer or whatever in lobbies, so now you don't have to be in a game to change your quick buy layout or your hotbar manager, which is like how you can kind of determine where your items that you buy will go into your inventory without having to move them there manually. You can now do all of that in a lobby, which means you don't have to, you know, potentially lose your bed while you're sitting in the menu for about 10 minutes trying to set your quick buy up. Now, the next thing is actually really cool, and I played a little bit yesterday and I found myself really enjoying this new quality of life change, which is the sword replacement changes. Now, what this means is basically whenever you buy a sword that is better than the one that you currently have, it'll instantly go into your sword slot. So my sword slot is the first slot, slot 1. Whenever I buy a better sword, or even if I pick one up off the ground now, it'll instantly go into my first slot. So it used to be, say you have a wood sword and someone throws a stone sword on the ground. If you went and walked over that stone sword, you'd pick it up into whatever slot's available, and your wood sword would disappear out of your first slot, and you'd end up being, you know, pretty much hitting someone with your fist if you're in the middle of a fight. But now, that stone sword that you picked up will instantly go into your first slot, which I think is very convenient, and just something that new Bed Wars players, if they started playing after this update, won't even know is a problem that we had to deal with before this change. Now, the last thing in quality of life is some prices revamps. We've had a few things change price, and on the whole, a lot of them have just been decreased in price. We've got the chain armor and bed bugs both going from 30 iron to 24 iron, which isn't a huge change, but when we talk about the forge change in just a second, it is kind of a bit interesting that they decreased the price of things. I feel like they probably should have bumped the prices up of a couple things, but we'll talk about that in a second. And we also have sponges and water buckets both going from 3 gold to 2 gold in solo and doubles, and from 6 gold to 3 in teams modes. As I said, another thing just decreasing in price, which I think is very interesting considering the next quality of life change is upgrading your team forge will now increase the total amount of resources it can carry at once, which is a big difference because normally whenever you're not at your island for however long, whenever you go back to your base, there'll be about 48 iron, and I think it maxes at about 12 or 16 depending on the map gold at a time. So that is the max amount that it'll sit at, and once it gets to that amount of items, it won't be able to produce any more until someone picks up those items. But upgrading your team forge will now increase the total amount that it can carry at once, which is huge. It means that these forge upgrades are no longer obsolete, and every time that you respawn and go back to your generator, there'll just be more items there for you if you do upgrade your forge, which is huge because Iron Forge has forever been a meme in Bed Wars. But this kind of makes me wonder whether it's a viable purchase now, whether that's something that, say you've already got Prot 2, you pick up 2 diamonds. Is it going to be a thing where people just go and buy Iron Forge now because you'll get more stuff when you respawn? I don't know, maybe a bit of a meta change there. And with chain armor costing less, and sponge and water buckets and bed bugs, all these things costing less items, the meta could definitely switch up here a little bit, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But on the whole, you're going to be getting a lot more items now than you ever have been, and it's very interesting. There's also a part of the forum post under these quality of life updates that says we will be experimenting with standardizing generator speeds across all maps in the near future. A new thread will be started in the Bed Wars forums once this goes live so you guys can post feedback. Eventually eventually they'll be standardizing generator speeds, which basically means every map will have the same gen speed. And I've always been one to like fast gens, so I'm hoping they all go fast. There's a lot of people that dislike those because fireballs will become a lot more used, but I guess that's just what happens. You got to deal with that if you want to get your tools or whatever, which I am more than happy for the gen speeds to all be pretty fast. Now let's move on to bug fixes. Normally we don't mention too much about bug fixes because they're bug fixes, and a lot of them are obsolete. You don't even notice them. Some of them have stuff to do with changing languages mid-games. All of those aren't important, so I'm just going to read out what I think will affect the meta and change a lot of things. Now the first one, there is so many Lucky Blocks changes with different items in Lucky Blocks. I don't give a damn about those. I know Zyph is probably pretty happy about some of that stuff, but I'm not going to read any of that. But there are definitely some bug fixes that I think are huge and we should talk about. Previously, if you died to your own fireball or TNT as a final kill, it would come up in the chat saying you just died. There was no final kill credit given to anyone who had hit you beforehand or anyone that broke your bed. You just died and no one got that final kill. But they fixed that now, and I was playing last night and it works. I accidentally tested it by someone killing themselves with a fireball and it worked. Here's the clip of that. Oh! Oh! Ooh, 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 ooh. Now I have a clip to use for my video tomorrow. Oh my god. That's so awesome. So that's great. I'm glad they changed that. That's something I've had a very big upset brain about recently, but that's good. They also fixed the spectator compass, not always showing all the live players, which I assume now you'll be able to click on every player regardless of how many there are. I think there was an issue with there was too many players to fill the slots. You wouldn't be able to click on some people because they weren't there, but hopefully that's fixed now. Fixed glorious kill messages, not having a killer sometimes. There's been a bug where sometimes, I don't know, sometimes there would be a visual bug with the chat where it would just say so-and-so was killed by apostrophe S, and then it would have whoever's looking at its final kill count. It was a weird bug, but they fixed that, which is good. They fixed compact pop-up towers not being centered properly when placed, which might mean they're better to use to block in now than they ever have been. I might have to try that. And they fixed entity view changes being much lower than usual, which is huge. Now you can pretty much see anyone from across the map, no matter where you are, as long as you have it set up on your client settings, which is huge because usually back in the day, mate, and I'm talking 2 days ago, you couldn't see anyone that was more than like 50 blocks away from you, which is ridiculous. But now you can, which is great. And here, this is the biggest bug fix they have ever added to Bed Wars. This is huge. This is massive. They fixed players not getting passive coin and XP gain while respawning. Now, for the longest time, literally since Bed Wars has come out, I didn't know this was a bug. I thought it was an intended feature. But basically, every minute or so, you'll get 25 Bed Wars experience and a few coins. I don't know how many. And you'll get that every minute of the game. However, if you're dead when these XP and coins roll out, you won't get them. The message won't come up in chat and you won't get them if you're in the middle of respawning. However, now, supposedly, you will. They've changed it so you will, which means at the end of a game, you should be getting exactly the same amount of XP as your teammate, regardless of how much you were both dead and respawning. So that's really cool. That's a massive, massive change, because if that was the case since I started playing, I'd probably be at least 100 stars more than I am, and I'm not just making that up. Like, that will build up over time. So that's pretty crazy. A massive change, but I'm pretty glad that they've done that. Next, we're going to talk about maps. They've added 3 new teams maps and 4 new doubles and solo maps. I've played all the doubles and solo maps with Chasm yesterday. He made a video on that, and I will be too. So I think the next video that I upload will be showing off the new doubles maps, and I might even add a part about the new teams maps, but I haven't currently played them yet. But here's a photo of what all the maps look like. They look pretty good. But yeah, new videos soon about the maps, so let's just skip over that for this video and talk about the prestiges, mate. They've added 20 or so new prestiges, which will not affect anyone other than War OG and Manhell IQ for quite some time, because I think 3rd place is still at 2,700 stars, which is 300 less than the new prestiges that they've added. Now, when it comes to whether or not I like these prestiges, I don't. I think a lot of them are pretty ugly, and I don't like the star icon at all. Why did they make that the star icon? It literally looks like the move icon for your cursor when you're in freaking Photoshop or whatever. It's not good. I don't like these prestiges. I kind of went crazy yesterday and toyed around with some new prestige ideas in a housing. I'll show some of them now, and I think it's really not that hard to make prestiges look better than Hypixel have here. People are very excited about 5,000 and 4,300 having black brackets and black featured in the star colors. That's the first time we've ever seen black in a star color, which is exciting, but honestly, there's not much to write home about here with these star colors other than I think 4,500 is really nice. I like 4,200. There's a couple that are nice. I think anyone who's 3,200 stars is going to cry for 100 stars. That is the ugliest star color they've ever added, but they tried. They tried. And I think Opmine apparently came up with the designs. Maybe Opmine tried. I don't know. I don't know how these got really. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these, but it doesn't bother me. I'm only 1600 stars, so I don't really care. Moving on, we got new practice modes, which are kind of bad, and I don't really think will compare to the Bed Wars practice server. A lot of people just use that to warm up, and I really don't see anyone using any of these practice modes to actually warm up or practice in Bed Wars. I genuinely just don't think these will be used. They're decent and they work well, but they're nothing special, and I don't think people will care for them at all. I think most people will either just play duels or practice on a different server if they really care. Most people don't even care. It's bloody Bed Wars, mate. Just hop into a game and start playing. But yeah, cool, good effort trying, but I just don't really think it's necessary. And that's pretty much everything we got out of this new update. It's a lot to unpack. This might be a bit of a longer video. I've been recording for 20 minutes, but I do a lot of stuttering, so I'm sure it won't be 20 minutes long once I edit it down. But a lot of stuff added, and there is a little bit down the bottom of the forum post, which is a little hint towards the rest of the update, and I'll read it out to you right now. It says, this update came after checking in with community a few months ago. While there's a good hefty chunk of the update, more than this is planned. However, due to how much we wanted to add and how long it takes developing it all, we decided it might be best to release what we have so far. We'll be focusing our efforts on this other update as of now. We sadly aren't ready to unveil much about what it entails, although we did tease a little bit of it by releasing the new lobby a while ago. Perplexing, isn't it? Which is obviously a little call out at the perplexed person NPC in the lobby, which a lot of people have been theorizing about and saying this is the new update. The perplexed person says something about the building behind him and whether or not you'll be able to go in there anytime soon. So I think obviously the next update's probably got something to do with that building and that NPC, but I don't know too much more than that. So looking at the hints they've given us, there's not a whole lot to go off, and I think we just have to wait and see. And then they say one thing we mentioned is content will aim at adding a longer grind to the game, something similar to when Skywars got the Angel's Descent. While we're not planning on changing the normal Bed Wars gameplay loop and balance too much, we'll be providing all sorts of new content along with a solid set of new rewards to go with it. So they have literally just told us new rewards will be coming. Whether or not this means new cosmetics or maybe a whole new reward system, I don't know, but that's a big thing to release in the bottom of a forum page on the last sentence. So that's exciting. Also saying stuff like Angel's Descent could come. I've wanted that for a while. I'm very excited to see where they go with this. And before I end this video, I'm just going to mention some of the things that I would like to see in the new Bed Wars update. And I'd like you guys to comment below and say anything that you think Bed Wars could see added that could definitely be good. I've got a list here that I'm going to read off of some of the things that I think Hypixel could add to Bed Wars that would be really cool. Starting off with a duels mode, a 1v1s and a 2v2s. I think adding those modes to Bed Wars is just a no-brainer. Maybe as a dreams mode, probably not as a dream mode. That was actually silly. Maybe as like, instead of the 4v4 mode, replace that with 1s and 2s, but just like a 1v1, like a duels or a 2s duels. I think that would be really, really sick. Or even just adding a part of the duels lobby, having a Bed Wars duel mode. I would love to see Bed Fight on Hypixel. Bed Fight's great, but it would be nice to see it on Hypixel with the same hit reg, the same knockback. So it's exactly the same as when you're playing the actual game. And you get rewards on Hypixel as well for playing on that. I just think it would be cool to see some Bed Fight in Hypixel. I also think they could definitely add a favorite map join command. Forever you've been able to use the join Bed Wars command to play just by typing a command in chat. But if you want to join a favorite map, you have to press on the diamond in the map selector, which I think is a little inconvenient. It'd be nice if there was just a favorite map join command. I don't know how possible that is, but it would be nice to see. I also think they could definitely do some work with the AP, maybe add some more achievements to Hypixel's Bed Wars, because there's not too many. There's 78, and most players who have been playing for a while have every single achievement, maybe except for the Dragon Killer one, but a lot of players have maxed those, and it'd be cool to see some new achievements added to Hypixel Bed Wars. I would also love to see daily and weekly stars be available on the leaderboards. We all know you can switch up the leaderboard to see daily and weekly finals and wins. Why does the star leaderboard not change when you do that? I think it'd be cool to see, although I agree maybe the mindset is a lot of people will have the same amount of stars each day and week, so maybe that's why. But it would be cool to be able to see daily and weekly stars somewhere, because a lot of people, like, I've grinded a lot of stars in one day, and I would have liked to have got a screenshot of how many stars I got that day, but there's just like stuff like that. There's just no way to see daily and weekly stars, which I think would be cool. I'd also like to see a breakdown in the experience message in chat, explaining where all of the experience gained came from. So as you know, at the end of a Bed Wars game, you get the XP breakdown, and it says you got this much experience, this much Bed Wars, this many coins, all the rest of it. I'd like to be able to see, maybe if you hover over the Bed Wars experience, showing where you got all that XP from, whether it be from winning the game, from playing in a party, from however many minutes you played. I'd like to see a breakdown so you can see exactly where every bit of experience comes from. I also think maybe awarding extra XP for the top killer in a lobby could be an idea that might go awfully wrong, but they could definitely experiment with that, which I think could be pretty cool. And as they mentioned in the forum post, I'd love to see some sort of corrupt Bed Wars games be added. Sorry, my sister just texted me again. But yeah, some sort of Angel's Descent like corrupt Bed Wars games would be really, really sick. I'd love to see them do that. And I'd also like for them to fix my goddamn bugged cosmetics, because I've had 99% of these cosmetics unlocked unlocked for so long, but there's like 2 or 3. One of them's the loot chest one that you get for buying a loot chest, and let me tell you, I've definitely bought a loot chest in my time, so I deserve that cosmetic. And then there's some Herobrine's mansion crap that is just unavailable. Just give me the last 3 cosmetics. That's all I asked for, mate. I want a max shop, and I'm 3 away, and I'm not happy about it, but I guess I'll just have to cope. It's a bit of a skill issue. But anyway, that kind of wraps up this video on the new Bed Wars update. This is really sick. I can't wait to see what they come out with next. I'm really quite excited, honestly. This is huge. We haven't seen any Bed Wars content other than the rotational items coming out for so long, so it's really sick to see Hypixel doing that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions of what you think Hypixel should add, chuck that in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and use my code and buy my cloaks and all the rest of it. Everything will be linked in the description, including the forum post. And yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day or night, and I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.